Let's see if we live. We finally live. Let's go. Let's go, baby. We did it. I ain't mean to blow your ears out. My bad. If that was loud. Hopefully, hopefully y'all could hear me. Um, it's my first live stream, so we're just gonna roll with it. Anyway, if you here, you probably seen the title and you know what I'm saying, that's what you here for. The breakdown of the book of Clarence. So we finna get into it. I'm gonna go ahead, bust it down. You know what I'm saying? My interpretation. You know what I'm saying? My interpretation of the book of Clarence. So, you know what I mean? We gonna do it, niggas. Yeah. All right. Now the movie was dope. I usually just watch movies for like what they trying to show and stuff, but I just thought it was kind of cool. It's a cool movie. You know what I'm saying? Entertaining, entertaining, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely a cool breakdown. So I was fucking with that. But now we're gonna get into the real message, what they was really showing y'all. You know what I'm saying? What was really being shown. That's what we finna get into. You know what I mean? Give me a second. Trying to get my life together real quick. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm gonna keep saying you know what I'm saying. Cause that's just how you get into the vibe of what you're doing. Now, for anyone who's seen the movie, you know it's clearly a Jesus story. It's clearly, you know, a story about, you know, the Messiah uh through the director and whoever's interpretation. So we just gonna go through the movie. I'm gonna just bust it down and give you, you know what I'm saying, what I'm thinking about it. So let's get it. Put my notes up. But I took notes all through this movie. Where we at? All right. Oh shit. Hold on. Book of Clarence. Boom. All right. All right, you guys. Yeah, so if you here, shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? For just seeking meaning deeper than what appear to be on the surface. Because from my view, there is a physical way to view this movie, like a very physical way to interpret and see this movie. And then there is a metaphysical way. There is an occult meaning through this movie and stuff. They definitely laced it. And I mean, how could you not? It's a Jesus story. It's your, you know, if you study any of this, you know. So anyway, nigga. Just to start it off, uh the movie begins with Clarence, the main character, whatever dude name is, Lakeith Stanfield. It starts off with him and his like homie or whatever. They racing on this chariot. They racing against Mary, Mary Magdalene, I believe. That's just who they got him racing against. And it shows, you know what I'm saying, him losing. He get ambushed by like some kids and shit like that. And he falls off and he loses. And this is where his troubles sort of like begin, at least from our perspective, what we see. So he's competing against this feminine aspect. You understand? He's competing against a woman, and that shows me that he is battling with a feminine aspect to himself. You know what I'm saying? That's off rip. That's how the movie start. Is he trying to finesse that aspect of himself? And as the movie goes on, you'll see more and more of that. But we're gonna get into that. So boom. It starts off in gypsy territory, which, you know what I'm saying, gypsies are like wanderers and people free of the modern society kind of. So we could almost look at this as, you know, the realm of imagination already. You know, if you want to start getting deep with it off rip, you could look at it like that. But really, they in the trap. They out here in the streets, and that's where he fall. That's where he fall out of the chariot when he lose. And this is really kind of where the journey begins. So the way that I broke that down, the way I seen that, the the way that occurred to me was he battling with a feminine aspect of himself, and he loses, and he falls out into darkness, which darkness is the place that transformation occurs. That is where the transformation happens. So the fact that that's how the movie starts is letting us know this guy is entering a transformation. You know what I'm saying? That this is how this is being played to us. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. Okay, so let's see. So yeah, gypsy territory. And he also runs over well, he don't run him over, but basically he like skirt, you know what I'm saying, on this beggar. He don't really show him no love or nothing, and he in the middle of shit, but nigga got the fuck on. He wasn't finna stop and get his dirty. He was dirty. Hey, this nigga was dirty. Like you low key couldn't tell if he was black or white. I couldn't. I'm like, shit. Is this a nigga or is this a white man and he just dirty as fuck? Like you gotta peep it. You'll see what I'm talking about. So, which if you did, you probably already know what I'm talking about if you hear. So anyway, uh, yeah, he falls off the chariot, and that begins his journey, his transformation, or at least the sign that it will be starting. He in the streets, da da da, and he got this dude that is basically saying that this nigga better pay him back or he gonna die. Like that shit is gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So his whole action is driven by fear. You understand? He don't want to die, like obviously, right? But in this case, what he don't want to do is die because he is living through his physical. He is at one with his physical. Like that's how he looking at this shit for real. He hasn't surpassed the humanity yet. So he still, you know, think that this is real. He still think this is him. So all his actions are driven by fear of death and surviving in this life though, which as we all know, this is fake. This shit fake. You know what I'm saying? It don't last forever. The real you is eternal and is inside of you. Blah blah blah. So you know that, right? Um also like the woman beating him represents the feminine, the need. Mary Magdalene beating Clarence in the race also shows the feminine need that he has, like the need for the feminine force to arise, or you could put it as like the correction of yourself, the completion of self, a process of becoming complete. That's really what, you know what I'm saying, he's going through. You also see Jesus. He got the red hood on. To me, he looked like a clit. Like they always symbolize that Mother Mary. Even Jesus sometimes like as like a clit because that is the representation of like what that energy is. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know what I mean, just look into it, nigga. You know what I'm saying? This has been shown many times. You see it in churches, da da da. Like the head covered in the hood, that's a click, nigga. So just peep. Just peep. Um, so as he walking through the streets, you know what I'm saying? He just lost. He trying to figure out what to do. He see his brother. He see his brother, and his brother is an apostle of Jesus. How I just told you we seen Jesus with the red hood. Well, his brother is with Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So he's an apostle, he's one of the 12 apostles. And the thing about it is when we introduced to his brother, we learned that they are twins because obviously they look exactly the same. So immediately this signals to me that this nigga Clarence and his brother Thomas are the same. They're the aspects of the same thing. It's automatic. And if you read the Gospel of Thomas, if you just know about it, Thomas' whole gospel is about wisdom and how wisdom is the transformation. And in his thing, Jesus didn't do in his writing, Jesus didn't do all these miraculous things in his book. Not saying he didn't do them, but just throughout the course of his book, that is not what happened. He was talking, and people who it damn near even starts off like people who can discover what is being said by these lines will never taste death. You know what I'm saying, or something like that. Some along those lines of those who understand or who have this true understanding will never face death. That's just how it go. So obviously your body will die, but we're talking about something bigger, because once you're on that level of, you know, you are above this humanity, then you no longer have this attachment that makes you feel like, you know, the fear and things earthly and earthly things mattering to you in a way that they really don't. Because to your soul, to your soul and your true self, this shit is bullshit. So moving forward, he see Clarence see Thomas, and he go and talk to him. And you know what I'm saying? Thomas tell Clarence, like, you ain't got no faith. You a seller of ungodly herbs. You just a nobody. He basically telling me not shit. He like, you nothing. And that, you gotta look at this for what it is. It's, first of all, the feminine damn near finessed his ass out of everything he had. Boom. So he already down bad, whatever you want to call it, physically. And now another, let's look at these as aspects of himself. Now another aspect of himself, his twin brother, you know what I'm saying? Let's see that as another aspect of himself. His twin brother is telling him, or himself is telling him, you not shit. This shit you doing, it don't mean nothing, and it ain't worth nothing for real. Whereas we, the average, just looker owner or whatever is seeing it as, oh, his brother just, he think he better than him, which facts too. If you want to look at it that way, it can be looked at it that way as well, because that is happening in the physical way too. But what do? We look beyond the physical. We look at things, if you want to say we get deeper, whatever. That's what I do. That's what the fuck I do. I'm not looking at shit on a physical level. I'm looking at shit on a God level, through a God mind, through an occult lens, through a certain perspective that allow me to see what really is, and not just what they want me to see. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's there plain as day. So boom, Thomas, Clarence's twin brother Thomas, tell him that. And then he also tell him that a man who lacks honor is a nobody. That's his whole thing. It's like, you don't stand for nothing. You don't have no morals, principles, da 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 da. So what we're seeing here is clearly, in a basic form at least, earthly uh existence versus a transcendent of the earthly existence. You understand? What you're seeing is like a earthly existence at first from Clarence, obviously, and then you seeing his brother who think he above all that. Boom. And that's just at the beginning to give you like the basic outline for, this is earthly, this is spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Boom. So they moving along with the movie. Um, and Clarence go and talk to his mom. You know what I'm saying? Clarence going to talk to his mom. And I don't remember if he mentioned it to Thomas when they first met in that scene, or not when they first met, but when we see them meet. I don't know if he mentioned that Thomas had left a family or something like that. They say it several times throughout the movie, like Thomas, you know what I'm saying, he like abandoned them or something to go follow Jesus and shit like that. Like, that's a recurring theme, that like he abandoned his humanity almost, which he kind of did, which is we'll get more into. So he's talking to his mom. Clarence is at home talking to his mom, and his mother trying to drop gems on him. And she says something that occurred to me where I'm like, like, okay, you know, this person or his mother is like aware of something. And she's also representing like almost like the mother, a mother goddess or something like that, because she dropping on him. He worried about all this stuff. He tripping, da da da. But she tells him some things like, uh, she she tells him something basically to let him know, keep a space inside of yourself for your true self to exist. Don't get caught up all the way in this earthly shit. I'm adding, but that's basically what she tell him. She definitely tell him something and say, hold space. She says, hold space. And she also tells Clarence to be the body, not the shadow. So it's almost conflicting what she's telling him, because she's sitting here saying, hold space inside yourself. You know what I'm saying? At least that's how I'm taking it, for your true self. But at the same time, she's saying, be the body, not the shadow, which is a clear sign he is living in his shadow. You know what I mean? He is like doing all of the things that people say is bad, or people say don't do this, don't do that, blah 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 blah. He's just living that. That's just how he living. So his mom trying to like get him out of that, trying to push him, you know what I'm saying, into a moralistic living, more or less, you could say. But she ain't really tripping though, because the way she put it, it almost sounds spiritual. It really sounds like, it could be uh just physical, but what do I do? You look past that shit. What is really being said? Because what you gotta understand, man, is these people who make these movies are not just trying to make a good movie. They're literally putting messages, symbols, um, the way the words are structured, even the way that time is structured in these movies and stuff. You'll see if you just pay attention, like especially in the 90s and like early 2000s movies, that was huge. That was just what they did, is play with time in movies. So you always got to keep an eye on that shit. Like that's just what's going on. Especially in some Hollywood shit with niggas. Like, come on, bro. They not just having niggas make a movie and da da da. Not even to get into the whole black shit, blah blah blah. But this is happening. So anyway, he finished talking to his mom, but he's still kind of dealing with the earthly shit, of course. So remember, he owes this one dude money. I forget his name, but he owed this nigga money, and he lost it all at the beginning of the movie when Mary Magdalene, or the shorty he was racing, she finessed him. She ended up getting him, like, finessed him and shit, like cheated basically. But she won, and took the money. So now he broke. He used his money to bet on it and he lost. So now he got like 30 days to he got 30 days to pay up, nigga, or your life, or it's over. You know what I'm saying? So he goes basically to tell him that he lost the money. You know what I'm saying? And when he gets in there, the scenery, what you must pay attention to is the imagery they use. Because the imagery they use is key to what they're trying to really get across, what their true message is. So when we come in, he's seeing people partying, having a good time, da da da. But then in front of the dude who he walking towards, like the dude who he owe money, you see a blue woman. It's a woman and she's all blue. You know what I'm saying? What immediately come to your head? Because what come to my mind is Kalima. And as you know, Kalima is the destroyer of the ego. Kalima, she total blue, she got all those arms, and she got, it's that popular picture of Kalima where she she cut, it's a dead dude on the floor and she done cut his head off and she holding it like, you know what I'm saying? She's like that. She's the destroyer of the ego. So boom, you see that. And to me, that's a clear signal that he is beginning this process of purification or putrefaction. You know what I'm saying? Eliminating all impurities. That's what this is. Because as we've been seeing, there are things in him that is not serving him no more. That's not even worth anything no more, for real. So boom, we seeing that, and that's really just what that triggered in my head. And he talked to the dude, and the dude basically just telling him, "You better pay me, nigga. Like, shit, yeah, it's up for you. You better get that money together." So he get up out of there, and this nigga go to get baptized. So he go to like, in the river when people would get baptized in the river. And the dude don't even want to do it. The dude who was to baptize him, you know what I'm saying, don't even want to do it for real. And like he ended up doing it though. And after this show starts the part of the movie where it's showing us like how he's trying to use a false sense of spirituality to thrive in the physical, and how you actually can, you know what I'm saying? If you have this understanding, then you can manipulate the physical. That's just what happens. But what it also shows us is this will hurt you in the long run. That's not what you do. This spiritual shit, this whatever you want to call it, is not to be played with. It's not something for play or to finesse and lie and da da da. No, 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 no. You're fucked if you do that shit, because you will reap all the repercussions of your impurities. You see what I'm saying? So he's still going through the process of purifying himself and becoming the balanced, complete man, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, so this is the process he in right now. You know what I'm saying? He get baptized though, and then he come back to he coming back into town. So these Roman soldiers show up, and it's basically just these white people, Romans, and they show up basically telling people they here to exterminate criminals and da da da. And they basically use some verbiage that lets me know that this is a Kundalini, this is a transformation alchemical story. They literally say some shit like crack your spine and feed you the livestock. What are those two things they just mentioned? The spine, okay, and what is the spine cracking? The spine cracking represents to me the opening of the spine, you know what I'm saying, which is allowing energy to flow through. And then fed the livestock, what does that represent? Animal self. So it's basically saying we're here to send you back to your animal self. That's basically what that's saying. We're here to destroy you. And the key is destroy yourself. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? You must destroy this idea of yourself to transcend, to go higher, past what you think you are. You know what I'm saying? It's like nature, animal nature versus your spiritual nature. Which one do you really live in? So anyway, yeah, they show up, but the message is really if he stays in his animal nature, he will perish because they're here. That's what happens on the physical. You will perish in the physical, in your animal nature, especially. As the story goes on, we'll find out that's just what you do here anyways, nigga. Like that's what's happening. You are here to fucking perish, nigga. Like you're not gonna live forever in this body. You're not gonna live forever, period, on the physical. That's not what the fuck this is for. Stop clinging to it. But anyway, they show up, you know, and boom, that they get that message across. He continuing on his way to his shorty, his girl or whatever. It's not his girl technically, but he wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? And her name is like Verenia or something like that. Her name is Verenia. Um, I didn't really find any connections with that, but maybe there's something there. Anyways, Verenia, what she really represents, what his girlfriend that he like or whatever represents, is his self. They are two aspects of one person. Okay. That's what they do in these movies. So what they're doing here is showing you, let's just say it's Clarence, and they're using her as a way to show you that his feminine, once again, is not balanced in this being. He is only living in the masculine, only in the physical. There is almost no wisdom to him beside just what he know, which is some bullshit, selling weed and blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? That's how they put it in the movie. That's the bullshit. Selling weed and he da 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 with his morals and blah blah. So um with this shorty, he go and talk to her and like she kind of not really fucking with him. You know what I'm saying? She ain't really feeling it like that. Or she trying to act like that, but he see through it and he like, come on, girl, like you know what's up with us. And you see this glow in both of their eyes. He actually say to her like, oh, so you ain't fucking with me? Well, then how come your eyes glow red when you look at me like a ruby or something? And then mine glows sapphire. And this is clear. This is clear indication. Okay, we have this connection. And red and blue is literally almost like parallels of each other. They're like polarities type shit. So, um, yeah, this is just another indication that they are the same. They're the same motherfucker, but it's showing you that um he can't have her yet type shit. You see, she wants him, but she knows she can't have him because they're not a match. They don't match up. There's no place in his life for her for real because he full of shit. And if you want to deserve this, you must become worthy. That's how that works. You know what I'm saying? You don't just gain your true self. You have to literally do the work and become who you know you truly are. So anyway, he wants to become worthy of her. She is mainly purely spiritual and he's earthly. She's literally in a temple or some shit like that. Like she don't be on none of the physical shit he be on. So boom, that's how it's like adding up and shit. Um yeah, the woman he loves is spiritual, has ruby red eyes. He has sapphire blue eyes for her. polarity. They're the same but opposites. Boom. And also, this scene starts to show you how much of a mischief deity he is representing. Clarence is really like a mischief god, like a Loki or something like that, because all of this starts to become apparent when he tell her um that he talking all this good shit like you like me and da 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 da, and then he tells her that he's been baptized and that he's searching for a spiritual meaning in life and shit and da da da. But everybody know Clarence don't believe in God. He don't believe in God and he full of shit. So she's not buying it. You know what I'm saying? But she going with it because it sound good. Blah blah blah. But then at the end of his little speech, he tell her, yeah, could you tell your brother that I've been baptized and I found God and da da da. And she like shitty, of course. And yeah, the dude who trying to kill him is whatever, her brother or whatever. So and she not going for it. She just kind of like, nigga, like you still full of shit. But anyway, she realizes that he's trying to use fake spirituality to save his humanity and makes it clear to him that that will never work. That this is not gonna work out well for you. So Um, she calls it a swindle baptism. You know what I'm saying? She basically pointing out, nigga, you full of shit. This is not genuine. You know what I'm saying? This shit is not to be played with. So that's basically book one. And I'm thinking about just ending right there. Maybe break it up into parts. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a whole movie. I got a lot of notes. We're gonna go through all of it. So yeah, this book of Clarence part one. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna end it there. Shout out to everybody tuning in, whatever. If you don't give a fuck, I don't either. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to everybody tuning in, looking for a deeper meaning and shit. And I'll be back soon with part two. We gonna lock in for this one. We're gonna lock in for this one. I'm gonna definitely give y'all some clues as to what the fuck was going on in this movie, because it's actually a decent movie. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a good spot for for you to start to see what the movie's about type shit. If you don't already, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, we're gonna leave it there. All right, man. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be blessed in the Lord. All right. Yep.